Hi everyone, and today I want to talk about KPIs, key performance indicators, basically knowing your numbers. Most doctors don't even know their numbers. It is the end of the month, and you know what? They don't understand why they don't have enough money to pay the bills. They have no clue how many patients they've seen each day or per week or per month. They don't understand the number of new patients, where these new patients are coming from, and as well as total charges and how that affects everything. What about each person? Each person in your office has a purpose, has a statistic that tells you if they're performing or not. See, knowing your numbers prevents micromanaging. And that's one of the things that doctors and office managers tend to do. When we just need things done and we're not sure we trust other people in the office, we micromanage. But you don't have to do that if you really understand your numbers. So one of the things it does, and what knowing your numbers, your KPIs, it prevents micromanaging. It also gives you clarity. There are times when you don't know why your practice is not doing so well. Better yet, why is it doing so great? We tend to focus on our practice more when things aren't going well. But when things are going great, we just fantastic. Let's keep on doing well and let's just keep on having that attitude. But we don't have an idea why that happened. It's actually more important to really understand why your practice is growing versus other times when it's not growing, because it's more difficult to figure out why it's growing and pinpoint the 1, 2, maybe 3 different areas in your practice that has been focused on that grew the practice. But you don't have to guess when you know your numbers. You need to act like a CEO, and CEOs actually analyze their numbers constantly. And it's the best way to run your practice. You have more confidence, what's going on, that one domino. If you just handle that one domino and have that domino fall down, all the other dominoes fall down with it. So it's that one thing that you need to focus on every single week. And sometimes it's every single week, it might be different. Each staff person has so many things they need to do. So knowing your numbers will help them understand what they need to focus on this week. And that clarity relieves anxiety and builds trust. So that's why it's so important to know your numbers. And you can give people raises based on their performance on their numbers. The other thing I want to make sure you understand is that when someone's numbers aren't really good, it's not necessarily the person. It could be the systems in place, the protocols. It can be that you're growing rapidly and the system you have in place can't handle the growth of the organization. The numbers are not there to penalize people, as just a tool, a map to make sure you're going from point A to point B, and that's never a straight line. That's about 90% of the time. It's goes up and down as long as we get to point B by a certain time that we designated. So I want to go over a few things with you and talk about how to get your numbers, look at them, what they mean, how to analyze them, and better yet, how you don't have to do it all. And that's one of the reasons doctors don't do this. Well, one of the reasons is because, when am I going to do this? Because you have so many things to focus on. And sometimes some of these electronic health records, their reporting system is not necessarily very good. And it's so hard to get the numbers. You have to run multiple reports, and it takes a while to get these numbers. So my recommendation is, if you are looking for a new health record, electronic health record company, I would recommend that, can you run these reports? You have to act like a CEO, not as the doctor who just needs to know, okay, where do I put my CPT code? Where do I put my diagnosis code? And how do I get the billing out? That's important. But getting reports and acting like a CEO, because a lot of these companies don't treat their physicians as CEOs, thinking that you have a billing company and they need to know this information and you don't. But the first step is to run these numbers. You need to have, I want these numbers done by a certain day and time of each week. And I'll get into which numbers in a few minutes. But every time, so I have my staff, each person will have 1, 2, maybe even 3 different statistics they need to send to me every single week. Now I had them send it to me by 1 o'clock every Friday. And the reason being is because it gives me some time to analyze these numbers And then I actually taught them how to analyze the numbers so they could write an action plan. They send it to me. I just have to look at it, agree with it. And then on Mondays, we had a meeting and they would present their action plan and their statistics to the whole company, to the rest of the staff. And again, it's just say, hey, this is what's happening. This is where we are. We need to be, but we need to be here, not there. And this is how we're going to get there this week. It makes them accountable. It empowers them, makes them involved in the organization, which is so crucial, being involved. That's one of the reasons why people leave a business. They don't get involved. They just act like robots. No one pays attention to them. So again, you go, wow, your numbers are great, Mary, fantastic. Okay, what did you do this week? What's so different? And she tells you, great, how do we do more of this? How do we do the same amount? What do we need to do this week to continue this great trend? And then surprisingly, you can just, on the meeting or just hand out like a gift card, $50 gift card, $100 gift card, depending how great your business is doing, and just say, hey, thank you so much. And this recognition, surprise recognition, goes a long way, more than just, okay, you've been here 2 years, you're due for a raise kind of thing. So remember that, just being grateful or buying them lunch. It doesn't always have to be something expensive. You just want to recognize that person in front of everyone and continue to do the same for others. Okay, so let's talk about, so we do this by 1 o'clock on Fridays. Let's talk about the numbers you need. And there are a lot of numbers, actually. The main four is the total number of new patients per week, okay, and then per month as well. And that's important because most doctors' offices really rely on new patients for continual growth. And these are the patients that bring in the biggest production to the organization. So that's important. Total number of visits. Not always the most important number. It's more important of what is your per visit revenue, know the number, and you just get that by the total revenue over a certain period of time. And then you need the total number of new patients, the total number of visits, total visits during that time. So it's per visit revenue. So you take the total number of dollars you brought in, let's say over the last 6 months, divided by the total number of visits, not patients, visits that you've seen. So you have the per visit revenue. So if you have a great per visit revenue per visit, and then as well as dollars per hour. So we want to work smarter. We don't necessarily have to work longer, but we have to work hard. But if it's 4 hours or 6 hours, we have to work hard during that time, but we don't have to work longer. If you're seeing a lot of patients that I call non-productive, they're important, just like the productive ones. But non-productive meaning like follow-ups, just quick little visits, you're not getting paid a lot. You have to have a system in place where you can maybe, knowing that's a quick visit, where you can double book that patient, or have a system in place where you see them and don't decrease your per visit revenue as well as your total revenue and profitability. So again, these numbers give you this information. So we have total visits and total new patients, total charges. People told me, what do I care how much I charge? I'm still going to get the same amount of money because this is what the insurance reimburses at. This is why I think it's important. When I first started practice, I'm like, okay, all the staff, they know exactly what they're getting paid every single week. I don't even know how much money I bring home until the end of the month. And sometimes at the early stages, I didn't bring home any. So if I need to have a goal, okay, if I have a goal of bringing in X number of dollars, let's say I want to bring in $100,000 in a month for the organization, the key number here is the percentage of collections from your charges. For me, it was always 57%. So if I charge $100 to the insurance or to whoever, the average is that I will collect $57 on that 100. Knowing that, then I can figure out what I need for my charges, since my collections are not going to be on the same day, will follow 2 to 4, maybe 6 weeks later. So I want to know, hey, I need $100 to get to 57, and at the end of the month, I have all these charges, but that percentage is, I multiply by that percentage and the number is less. So now my collections are lower than I think it should be based on that percentage number. So where's the money? So it gets you another, it makes you think. Let me look at the AR. Are we billing properly? Did we have any rejections in our claims? Is our Our accounts receivable, is it high? We look at the buckets from 0 to 30, 31 to 60, 61 to 90, and 91 to 120, and so on and so forth. And we see what's going on. Are we actually calling the insurance company to say, where's the money? Did they receive the claim? So that's where you're the CEO. You don't have to do this work, but you have to make your team accountable and ask them. Like I had a weekly meeting with my financial person, my biller. What's going on here? What's going on there? What's your action plan? And that's important. And the meeting's only about a half an hour. Doesn't take long. You have all the information there, ready to go. They gave it to you, and you just have to ask questions and get answers and have an action plan, like I said. Again, total charges and total collections, key numbers. And then we have your per visit revenue, which is only accurate every 6 months approximately. Now we go into everybody's individual purpose. Now I have, and you can get this, just ask me, DM me, and we can get you a free organizational chart. This organizational chart is divided into 7 different departments. Someone's always responsible for each one of these departments. Each department has a purpose. That purpose has a statistic, and so it's measurable. And then we have analysis from that. So for example, the front desk. The front desk receptionist is responsible for 3 things. You might overload her with information, but she's responsible for just 3 things. And that is to keep your appointment book totally full with productive patients. That's 1. 2, making sure that these patients keep their appointments. And the 3rd thing is collecting all monies at the time of service, meaning deductibles, copays, and past balances. 3 things, and then we have to train her how to do all those 3 things. So they're measurable. In other words, what are the total number of visits for that week and month? The percentage of kept appointments for that week. And it should be 95% or above is great. 90 to 94 is good. Anything under 90, in my opinion, is not acceptable, and we have to figure out why. And the biggest thing is that when you get busy, that front desk person is rushing on that phone. You have a new patient and they have a lot of questions. None of those questions are being answered. They just get rushed through the phone call, and that patient doesn't feel comfortable and doesn't show. So that also helps you, like, wow, why is that happening? And they say, and you then listen and you watch, you follow, you see the phones are ringing and it's going past 2-3 rings and no one's answering the phone. So what do you do there? Do you hire another person? Do you get a virtual assistant that can help you answer the phones and book appointments? So immediately handles that issue when you see that. And then total collections, over the counter, I call it OTC money. And so if you are charging a lot of money every week, or your charges are going up, but your collections are going down, is it the problem at the desk? So present day collections or past collections? And this way you can, well, if your money over the desk is following the total charges, that's probably not the answer. They're doing a really good job at the desk. It is then maybe the billing issue. So now you're focused into the real problem. So that's why those 3 things are measurable, have an action plan, they analyze it, why this is happening, and they give you the answer. And then you have your medical assistant, the same thing there. They have the main purpose of a medical assistant to assist the doctor and to help market the practice to the patient in front of you by educating that patient, letting them know you are also looking for other new patients. Hey Mary, I know you're happy here, everything went great. If you know anybody in your family that has this kind of problem, a medical problem that we can take care of, please just here's a card, here's information about the practice, let them know that we'd love to see them. So assist the doctor, keep the doctor running on time. Now they don't have total control of it. What they do have control is that the treatment rooms are full and totally stocked with what you need, so you don't keep on going in and out of that room. If you see that's happening, then guess what? They're not helping you, they're not assisting you, and it's slowing down the process. Each patient, if you slow down with each patient, by the end of the day, you could be 30 minutes to 60 minutes behind schedule. We have to have those rooms stocked properly. Now, if you're on the phone, doc, and they say you have a patient and you're not, and say, I'll be there in a few minutes, I have to take care of this phone call. You have to decide what you want from your practice. Little tip here, maybe you heard me say this. A coach told me this once. I took my phone and I took a piece of paper and I wrote down my revenue goal that I want for the year, and I then rubber band that piece of paper to my phone and I locked it up in a drawer. So every time I would open up the drawer to get my phone and I see that revenue goal, I say, well, that phone call is not that important, and I'll just close the drawer, because you have to stay really focused. And I say that all the time, you have to stay focused. What would you to get to your goal? And we'll talk about goals in a second. So we measure the patients in the room on time. So we measure the patients in the room on time. And then we have, marketing, new patients, and also recalls. They do recalls patients and getting older patients back into the office. So we measure that. Plus SEO, they do, marketing person did a lot of SEO, the number of blogs, videos, bounce rate for a website, things like that. She would measure that. The financial person will measure your AR, the bucket list, total collections, obviously. And then we also had a sheet for hey, our AR for patients from 0 to 30 days is this. And then our AR for patients only is from 31 and above. We made a graph line, and was this, and we look at the graph and the line, and it's a reverse graph, meaning the lines should go down. The AR should go down, not up. Every other graph you need to go up. This one you want to go down, and you want your 0 to 30 days, at least for insurance companies, not necessarily patients, but for your insurance, because we do the same for insurance. From 0 to 30 insurance-wise should go up, because that means you're billing, but that money should be coming in by day 31, the latest. So your graph from 31 and above, that should go down, definitely, because you don't want a lot of AR there, and that's how you know what's going on there. So what I do, and the last thing I want to talk about is goal setting. You say, hey, you figure it out at the end of the year. If you brought in $1 million, maybe this year you want to bring in $1.2 million, and that's a 20% increase. Okay, January comes of the new year. You look at January from the year before, and how much money did you bring in January of the year before, and you increase that goal by 20%. Because sometimes it could be seasonal. You make more money certain months than others, so you should increase that by 20%. And then that means you increase your new patients by 20%, your total charges, your total visits. Now, if you do everything by 20%, you're increasing it more than 20%, a lot more than 20%. So then you look at your key procedures that bring in most of your money, what I call the Pareto principle, the 20% of procedures that you do that brings in 80% of your income. You look at those procedures, those supplies and that you might have handed out to the patients, then you will increase each one of those by 20%. And you actually put this down on an Excel spreadsheet. You let everybody know about this, what your goals are. Bigger is not better, but what is needed to be done is you need to grow, because everything's going up. All your bills are going up. Your staff wants raises. So yeah, maybe you don't need to go from 1 million to 2 million. You're happy at 1 million, but you want at least, increase so everybody gets a little bit more of the pie, and you get a little bit more too. So you figure out what you want and what you need, and everybody knows about these goals, and you tell everybody, okay, today is the 5th of the month, and we have a calendar, a desk calendar. It's in front of the receptionist, and it says on the calendar, our goal for new patients to this week is, let's say it's 30. Okay, that's 6 a day. So day 1 you should have 6 new patients. Day 2 you should have 12. Day 3, 18, day 4, 24, and day 5, 30 new patients. So then we have a person designated. For me, it was my marketing person, and they would say at a morning huddle, our goal today is the 5th of the month. We should have 30 new patients, as of today, and we have 28. So today we want to bring in 8 new patients. So if someone calls, let's get them in, because our goal is to get to 30, okay? So we do the same thing with the 4 key numbers: charges, collections, new patients, and total visits. And you stay on target. Athletes have goals, daily goals. This is not can't be done just monthly, because at the end of the month probably didn't meet that goal, and if you have a few bad months in a row, your yearly goal gets more difficult to achieve. So daily we get the team involved, and it's just like they love to be part of this. They get bonuses. We used to give out bonuses every quarter based on those 4 numbers, based on achieving our goals. So, and here's the other thing. You want to know why sometimes your staff, it's 4:30 and a new patient calls, someone calls with an emergency and they need something done, but they might send them to an emergency room, or, give them some instructions to take care of overnight to come in the next day. No, when you have someone that is responsible, loyal, accountable, they're more likely to get him to come in now, because it's just what's better for the patient, but they're also involved and they want to see their numbers and their production to increase, and they want the surprise bonus or your regular bonus. So rewards are helpful at that level. Okay, if you have any questions about any of this, you can email me at Coach Wishnie, my last name, CoachWishnie24 @gmail.com. Have a great day and stay focused.